Hello there. How are you doing today? How are you doing this night, this evening, this day? I hope you're doing well. Today is a rainy day. It's been raining. But like this, normally what happens, we have summer, right? Everything is bright and shiny and everything. But then it starts raining. And then when it rains, the temperature just drops just a tiny bit. And then all the green starts fading. You see, like that tree is starting to fade. They start fading until they become brown. And then they fall off. That's why we call it fall. In preparation for a different season called winter. So we go by seasons, guys, which is a good thing. And, so you can see some of the trees are starting to change. In the next 3 weeks, it's gonna be different. So we normally get to see so many seasons happening when we are living here. But that's not my topic for today. Today I have a different topic that's gonna benefit you who plans to go abroad. Doesn't necessarily need to be here in America. You can go Australia, you can go Germany, you can go France, you can go Canada, anywhere abroad. And I want to talk about a difference between three courses. Three different courses that you can do in healthcare, and their difference and their benefits and why you should do them, and how much time is going to cost you to do them, how much money is going to cost you to do them, and how much are you going to be very, very much involved mentally and psychologically for you to be able to do those two courses. I'm going to talk about three, and at the same time, what's the benefit? Which one is the most beneficial? What should you do? So that's what I want to talk about today. But before that, I want to thank you for always liking my videos, always watching them. I don't take it for granted, guys. I do really appreciate you looking at my work and even commenting, even asking a question. Whatever that you do when you walk into my channel, I really do appreciate you. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, kindly consider subscribing. I'm still waking up, guys, so you have to bear with me. So let me turn I normally kind of like to drive when and you know what, guys, there's someone who gave me a feedback and said that there's a lot of noise because I'm driving and everything. So I did order a very nice microphone that I'm waiting for it to come. Maybe it should be here by next week. That is gonna do all the noise cancellations for me, and at the same time is gonna make me have a clear and more precise sound. So I'm working on that, and I'm gonna get that one very, very soon. So let's talk about CNA, let's talk about RN, and let's talk about LPN. What is the difference between all those? And I'm gonna talk about them because I have done all of them, and I have worked on all of them. And I can comfortably tell you this one is a good one, this one is not a good one. And that is if you want to come and start doing it here, or you have just finished college. You have just finished high school and you're thinking of going to college and you're stuck, you don't know what to do. So let's start with the CNA course and what it entails. So anybody can be a CNA, anyone. You just need to have the heart to take care of people. I think I should turn this thing that windshield. So, for you to be a CNA or an LPN or a nurse, you gotta have the heart to take care of people. The heart made of, I don't even know how I can explain it, but you gotta have a lot of patience, a lot of humility, and that drive that you wanna take care of people, you wanna see people get better. So that's the thing. Now, you want to venture into the CNA course, wherever you are, it doesn't matter. It's the least. You will need the least requirements for you to become a CNA. because the work that is done, or the work that is that goes with that course, is what we call activities of daily living. And what do I mean by activities of daily living? Activities of daily living means, like, maybe you are helping someone to dress up, you're helping someone to maybe set their table, you're helping someone to eat, you're helping someone to brush their teeth. Maybe you are going to sit with someone so that they can watch at the TV, or they're doing an activity. You're going maybe to help them, to take them to the doctor's office. Those activities of daily living, sometimes they are not even able to go to the bathroom, and you're gonna have to assist them. And it's a very good job. You know, like, I really, in my nursing line, I do really value CNAs. And I value a CNA who knows what they are doing. You know, I really value them. And in my line of work, I always try to help them out. Because I know that without them, it would be a mess. You wouldn't be able to do the work that you're doing if you didn't have a CNA, because you'd have to do activities of daily living, you'd have to do your medical work, it's a lot to do. So a CNA, normally here, the minimum, I have seen people who went up to, they went up to 8th grade, they didn't proceed up to there, and then they applied for a CNA course. Of which here in high school, just when the kids just go to high school, there are some schools that offer that course. So here you don't necessarily need, like, to be in high school or to have a certain whatever for you to do a CNA. No, you don't need to do that, because I know several people that they only reached 8th grade and they're very good CNAs. And how long is it gonna take? It takes like a month or two, and then you're done. So they're teaching you the basics, how you can help a person if you went to someone's house to help them. Helping them with laundry, helping them with the little things that a person has to do daily, but they are not able to do for themselves. That's a CNA. Is it a good job? Yes, it is. It's a very good job. But I always say that it's a good job to start with. That's what I say. You might that's my stand. Like, especially when you are an immigrant, do not let that define your whole life when you live in a foreign country. Do not do that. That's just a start. Okay? So you've done your CNA, and for you to become a nurse, an LPN, or for you to become an RN, one of the basics is to become a CNA. And what I know and what I would encourage someone is that when you become a CNA, first of all, work a CNA for a little bit, get the feel of the ground and know what happens, and then you proceed and do your nursing. Because if you are a good CNA, you'll become a good nurse. But if you don't know nothing about a CNA, it will be even very hard for you to get along with your fellow CNAs. Like, it's going to be so hard for you to do that. So that's that. Can it be done wherever you are abroad? Yes, it can be done. Is it an entry for you to come to the US? No, it's not. That one is not going to let you come. That you go to the embassy and you tell them that you are a CNA and you want to come and work here as a CNA, they are not going to give you a visa. That's for sure. They will not. But it's a good course that can be done. So like I said in my previous video, that don't do it and maybe you think that certificate is going to get you a visa to come to America. No, that one doesn't work like. But it's a very good job, and it's a course that is not going to cost you a lot of money, and it's a course that you can do and you are able to take care of a person professionally. Number 2, there is licensed practical nurse. That is a nurse who is on a certificate level. So that nurse is a nurse. It is a nurse, and most of them, like the majority, they work in nursing homes, but there are some hospitals who hire them. And the only difference between the LPN and an RN is that everybody practices in their own scope. Like everybody is on their own lane. For example, I work in the hospital, right? And the hospitals that I work with, we normally do not have LPNs, so it's a little bit different. But there are hospitals that do not have an LPN. But before I go to the work, the career, how long does it take you to become an LPN? It depends on the school that you're going to. Because here, normally what happens is you have to do prerequisites. Those are the basic classes that you have to do, maybe English, math, anatomy and physiology, psychology, communication, speech, all that. Nutrition. So you do a little bit of courses, and then they have you do an entrance exam. There's some colleges that will have you do an entrance exam, and that is a course that you can only do by 2 semesters and you're done. Just 2 semesters, you're done. So if you start in January, you will be done in December. That is if you're done with your prerequisites and you went into the program. If you start in January, you will end in December. And even if you do it in 3 semesters, whereby you can do the beginning of the year, and then there are summer classes you want to go through summer because you want a more extended and more slow pace, and then you still finish in December. It takes a year for you to get that certification to become an LPN. Now, an LPN can do most of the things that an RN can do, but there are some things that it is not within their scope to do. For example, maybe I'm working with them with the hospital, and there's a person who is being admitted, a new admit. They are coming in, they have never been to the hospital, and they are coming in. So an LPN cannot do the initial assessment. Like, they cannot be given that patient to assess, like to know everything about that patient the first time. They cannot. That is not within their scope. But can they do that in the nursing home? Yes, they can. They can, because I've worked in a nursing home and I've done admissions. Because nursing home is more laid down, laid back. It's like someone who is in their home, and they need care. It's like a boarding school for old people. I would say that. So let's still go back to an LPN. If a patient needs blood, they need a blood transfusion, can an LPN do it? No, they cannot. It's not within their scope to do that. Can they do chemo, chemotherapy, all those medication about chemo? No, they cannot. They are not. It's not within their scope to do that. And money-wise, they are paid more than the CNAs, So maybe a CNA started with like $18 to $20. So you find an LPN will go like let me give them maybe like $30. Yeah, let me give them $30. So you can make up to that, depending on the state that you're living in, and depending on the status of that area that you're living in. But they are very important nurses, very, very important nurses. And it's good. COVID was bad, but there are some good things that COVID did, because COVID even allowed some more hospitals to open their doors to LPNs. They did, and as an LPN, you have to work under the supervision or under the guidance of an RN. So an RN is a little bit more advanced. Okay, so we're done with the LPN. Now, if you want to become an RN, you still do the same prerequisites, and then you will do your course, but it's going to take you 4 semesters to finish. What do I mean by that? You see the 2 semesters that you did as an LPN, you can bridge. That is, you go back to school and do 2 more semesters, and you get your associate degrees in nursing, the registered nurse. You become a registered nurse. You can do that. If you started from the beginning, you hadn't done your prerequisite, you are not an RN, and you haven't done anything. You just came from college I mean, from high school, and you want to do nursing, it's gonna take you 4 years to do the whole course to become a registered nurse, and just a little bit of time to get your bachelor's in nursing. So what about an RN? What is so different about an RN? You know, those things that I told you that the CNA cannot do, I mean, the LPN cannot do, is the responsibility of the registered nurse to do. So you can do an initial admission. If there is blood that you can give, you can even be hired whereby there is people are getting chemotherapy. You can do dialysis. There's so many things you can do. There is something we call nursing education, whereby the doctor has prescribed a certain medication, and it is the work of the nurse to explain to the patient about that medication. So there is that initial education, the first education that the patient receives about a medication. Now that one is done by the RN. But then subsequent ones, after the initial one, the LPN can do. So when you are giving blood as an RN, and the LPN do your vitals, they can do the subsequent vitals, but there are some vital signs that you have to do, you know, doing blood pressure and all that. The first ones, the first 15 minutes that you have to be there with that patient, so that you know if the blood going well, is that patient doing well. That one you have to be there. Those ones are yours. You have to do them because you want to know if there is a change of condition in your patient, and then you will be able to you will know what to do. And then within the schooling and everything, and when you come off as an RN and the other person comes off as an LPN, you find that there's a difference in critical thinking, whereby if you have an RN, they know how to think more critically than an LPN, and at the same time even more than a CNA, because sometimes you can have a scenario whereby you find that your aides have panicked, and you have to keep it cool, because you know you are the you're the one who is the link to the doctor. It doesn't mean that the LPNs do not call the doctor, they do, but it depends on what, and it depends on the policies of the organization that they are working with. But they're given responsibility just like the other one. It's only that there is little things that they cannot do. Are they going to be paid the same? No, they are not going to be paid the same. They're going to be paid very differently. Maybe you can find, maybe, you know, there's some even states that pay nurses even $80 an hour, $60 an hour. So that is the difference between the three of them. So if you are abroad, maybe you are in Africa, you don't want to settle to become a CNA, and at the same time you do not want to settle to become a community nurse. You want to become a registered nurse, because being a registered nurse, it's very easy for you even to join an agency, like find an agency, and the agency can like walk you through and tell you how you are able to apply. Do the NCLEX. There's an examination that you do after you have finished your nursing. That it's done by LPNs and it's done by RNs, so that you can get the license to practice. And you can be able to. I've seen nurses who have come to work here through simply because they were registered nurses and they were able to come and work here. So if you're thinking of going through that route, you're gonna have to know the differences. And what can I do as a CNA? What can I do as a licensed practical nurse? And at the same time, what can I do as a registered nurse? And which one is going to sell me internationally? Of course, the RN is going to sell you internationally. Now, is it to become an RN? No, it's not. It is very hard. You're going to have to put your mind there, all your resources there. Forget about everything. Forget about your husband. Forget about your children and study. That's how hard it is. Because if you don't study and you don't get their pass mark, they have a certain pass mark that they arrange that you're gonna have to get in all your exams, or maybe you have to get the whole total of your exams and you don't get to that, then you're gonna have to repeat. And you cannot repeat so many times. Maybe they can give you one or two chances, but if you fail those one or two chances, you're not there. You're not fit. So it takes a lot of your energy. It takes a lot of you, a lot from you. Even it affects even your psychology, you know, because you're just in school mode, you are in work mode, and you tend to, because when I went to LPN school, it wasn't that hard. But I went to RN school, I think maybe with time, with, you know, even with age, and with the responsibilities that I was having at that time, you find that it was hard on me. It was really, really hard on me. I even, at some point, I got depressed. Oh my gosh, it was so hard. I got depressed because all that I was doing was studying. I wasn't even working, and I've talked several times about failure, that I don't do very well. I don't do very well when I fail in doing something. It doesn't mean that I'm not able to rise up and move on. I am able to, but before I get to that point, my God, it's bad, you know. And like every time that I went to class, I was thinking, if I fail, what am I going to tell my children? If I fail this class, when I am sitting down to do homework with my kids and my kids know that I failed, what am I going to tell them? So I was having all these forces, you know. And then I was like, my husband has been taking care of the kids, taking care of all the bills, and then I have failed. Like, what will I say that that was really like so much weighing on me. But I thank God that I passed and I got done with it. And I just decided like I was going to take a very long break before I decide to go back to school, because it was hard on me. And I get stuff very fast, but I don't know what happened. So can it be done? Yes, it can be done. You know, because you don't look at how hard it is. You look at what you're going to achieve after that. The other thing is that when you go to practice, the RN has a lot of responsibility, and you find that all the assignments that you get, you're responsible for them. You can even go to jail for them. Here you are accountable for everything that you're doing. So don't just do it for the sake of it. You do it that if they called you in court for, I was talking to another nurse and she told me, you always document what you did and what you know, that if they called you in court like 5 years later, you'd be able to account for what you documented. So that's how serious it is. So that's how responsible you are when you are a registered nurse. It's not about position. It's about responsibility. So I used my badge to open the gate, because here without your badge, you are not going anywhere. But it's raining and I can't reach there. See? If you don't scan your badge, that one is not gonna open for you. Hope that I'm trying to give you an insight of like what you should do, especially if you have a dream of coming to practice healthcare here in America or in any other foreign country. Like nurses are held with high responsibility. Like there's a lot of responsibility that is bestowed on you, that you gotta have to be on your toes and on your ears and listening and trying to do the right thing, because you are accountable for anything that can happen to the patient that you're taking care of. So it's upon you to think. I've given you all the options. So think about what you want to do, but do what is right. Do what can help you. And even if you become a registered nurse in your country, it's still a good thing to do. It's a good job. It's rewarding. What makes me go to work every day is that I know that I have made a difference in someone's life. And I always ask myself, did I do the best for that patient? And if I did the best, then I feel good about it, and I'm able to go back and back again and again. So guys, I wish this video is going to help someone. Thank you for always tuning in. God bless you, and have a good day.